Let's take you to KwaZulu-Natal now, because Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli is leading the Provincial Government oversight visit to two areas that were gutted by wildfires at the weekend. He first visits the Kenville Informal Settlement in the eThekwini Metro. That's where more than 200 informal units were gutted, displacing over 400 people. Later in the day, he's expected to proceed to Boston, where 6 firefighters lost their lives while battling a blaze in a plantation there. Watching those developments is SABC News reporter Nonhlakanipho Magwaza, who joins us now for a sense of what lies ahead. And really, this kind of oversight visit, Nonhlakanipho, comes at a time where KZN is just moving from one disaster to another. I see there's some interaction there of some of these government officials. Take us through what perhaps their approach might be today.
Yes, Ayanda, good morning. We're here at Kenville Informal Settlement, where the Premier and his cabinet are here to do an oversight visit. This is where the over 200 families have lost their homes in a gutting fire on a Sunday. But we'll hear from the Premier because they held an urgent cabinet meeting to talk about the disaster areas here in the province, or rather the areas that were gutted by fires and fires here in the province. Let's just talk to the Premier about the interventions that they have, or interventions that they came up with in the cabinet meeting. Good morning, Premier. We understand that yesterday you had a cabinet meeting. If you can just briefly tell us what came out of the cabinet meeting, the interventions that you decided will be suitable for the province.
Well, to yourself and to the viewers at home, we met yesterday. We had a special cabinet meeting. The rationale behind the special cabinet meeting was to receive reports and assess the extent of the disaster in our province. Well, we were in shock, in fact, to realize that we have lost lives during these wildfires, and the one that took place here where we are today. And it's a situation which is odd, because we have been having winter seasons, windy seasons. We never had such, in fact, a number of wildfires. And we felt that there is a need to actually find out as to what triggered the wildfires, and also to advance the awareness, because we need to make the people to be aware of the extent the wildfires can cause damage, especially to the livestock, to the properties, and to the human life. We'll be then intervening. We've already started to make interventions, providing temporary shelters, providing some hampers. Departments of Cooperative Government and Traditional Affairs, Social Development, and also Human Settlement. They've provided some reliefs. And the other main reason we wanted to have that special cabinet, we wanted to also consider some sort of interventions, collaborations that we may need, because the extent this disaster has gone, in fact, it requires extra intervention, both from national government and also from the private sector and the social partners. That is how far we had to actually consider the mitigating way forward in terms of what has happened.
Premier, do you know the extent of damage that was caused by the fires?
Yeah, the report that we received was that it was more than 30 million, in fact, the extent of the damage, because you talk about the livestock, you talk about properties, even agricultural resources. There is a lot, in fact.
We spoke to a couple of farmers saying that the little livestock that was left, they no longer have grazing land. Are you going to assist in that aspect, in providing food as well for the cattle or the livestock that is left for these farmers?
Well, the Department of Cooperative Government and International Affairs, they've already made some provisions, and as of now, we also have secured 1,300 bales that will be distributing to the farmers.
Coming back to Kenville, when we were here on Sunday, the community lamented that they don't have water. If they had water, they would have been able to contain the fire. Are there plans to remove the people here in this area to another place?
Well, I'm with His Worship the Mayor, the new Mayor of eThekwini. I think because we had a discussion with him that we need to sit down and look at the measures in which we can attend to the issues that are impacting on the lives of the people in eThekwini. We are in agreement that there is a need of moving with speed to try and resolve the challenges. And the issue of moving people is part of the agenda. We had a chat about it, but we know that there are some technicalities, some challenges, in fact, that we'll need to attend to, but that's an option.
Do we have a turnaround time on when the people will be given shelter?
Well, we'll be sitting down. I know that there will be provision for the temporal structure to be constructed by this week, before the end of this week. But in terms of the proper land and a proper shelter, I think is something that cannot be determined today as to when exactly.
Will the parts of the province that were gutted by the fires be declared as disaster areas, or are we still in the process of applying for them to be declared as disaster areas?
In fact, that is what we are looking for, that the national government does declare those areas on a state of a disaster.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
That was KZN Premier Mr. Thamsanqa Ntuli telling us about the interventions that the government is implementing in the area. As you can see, that the people are temporarily housed in tents because the informal settlement was gutted by fire on Sunday. The fire was caused or came from one home, allegedly. One person died during that fire. As you can see, people are still trying to gather their lives. They lost everything during that fire on Sunday. They didn't know where to sleep up until the tents were erected by government. NGOs have been coming into the place to provide food, to provide blankets for the people, as well as get in and provide school uniforms for children, because they lost everything in the fire. But when we spoke to community members earlier on, they did mention that kids are currently not going to school because they don't have exercise books and they don't have any uniforms as yet for the children to go to school. But they have been promised that donations will be made to the families that have lost everything, and probably by next week they will be able to send their children to school next week.